There is life 500 meters below the entire ice sheet of Antarctica, where sunlight has never reached. In that world of perpetual darkness, some isolated small creatures have survived for thousands of years. The entire sheet of ice here extends to a depth of about 5 kilometers. From above, it seems like a white desert, lifeless and silent. But under that white surface, there are all sorts of miraculous things hidden. Serious and mysterious. Mysterious rivers flowing in the opposite direction. Lakes wider than cities. Active volcanoes and hidden bubbles of air that are millions of years old, locked in the largest freshwater reservoir on Earth. And now, powerful countries are trying to take control of this reservoir. China is building new permanent bases, and Russia is conducting geological surveys. But what is there under the ice that everyone is so desperate for? What are they really looking for? Today, we have to go down to the mysterious depths of Antarctica's frozen ice to find the answer to that question. Geographical vastness and climate Antarctica is the 5th largest continent in the world. Even if the entire United States and Mexico are combined, it will not be equal to it. About 70% of the world's fresh water is trapped in the ice sheet of this continent, which is so thick that it can cover the European Alps. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest region in the world. The sun does not rise for months in winter. The temperature can drop to -90 degrees Celsius, and strong winds carry everything away. Unrelenting life. Yet the presence of life did not stop there, even in such a hostile environment. Penguins and seals live in groups on the ice-covered coast. All kinds of fish roam under the sea. Even small creatures like microorganisms and shrimp survive in the deep, dark water of the ice. Yes, nature has spread life everywhere in its own way. Library of Time and Ancient Wind, the ice of Antarctica is actually a huge library of time. Every year, snow falls here continuously and is deposited layer by layer under its own weight, just like the annual rings of a tree trunk. Each layer of ice is the silent history of a year, and tiny air bubbles are trapped in that layer, which retain the air sample of that year. Thus, the prehistoric details of the Earth's climate, starting from the ancient atmosphere, are hidden under the frozen ice of Antarctica. Scientists have drilled several kilometers deep and brought up long ice blocks, the lower end of which also contains air from about 1.2 million years ago. From this information, it has been known when the Sahara Desert was a green forest, when mammoths roamed the Earth. And through this, it has been possible to know that the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was half of today's level. Ice forgets nothing. Hidden world and blood falls. What I have said so far is only the upper chapter of this continent. If we go deeper, Antarctica will open up more amazing secret chapters before us. There is a whole world of water under the ice. Thousands of hidden rivers and lakes are spread out like a web. Some lakes are larger than cities. They have survived without sunlight for millions of years. When the water of all the secret lakes suddenly changes its course and flows quickly to another place, the ice above it fluctuates for several meters, as if something moved inside the belly of the ice. Sometimes this hidden world reveals itself by breaking through the ice. For example, the mysterious dark red waterfall that flows out from the side of the Teller Glacier, called Blood Falls. At first glance, it seemed like blood was flowing from the body of ice. Later, scientists realized that it was actually ancient salt water, trapped hundreds of meters below the ice, which is rich in iron. As it broke through the ice and rose, the iron oxidized, and the water took on a red color, turning it into a purple color. And this red waterfall is proof that the nutrient-rich water under the ice reaches the sea and affects the entire environment. Ecosystem. and blue whale. The iron and nutrients in that water nourish the tiny algae in the sea. Countless krill, that is shrimp, survive by eating that algae, and the world's largest animal, the blue whale, depends on krill for survival. Once upon a time, blue whales were almost extinct in the waters of Antarctica due to constant hunting by humans. Today, they are slowly reviving. Lake Vostok and alien life. Let's dive deeper now. Far below the ice, there is a vast lake called Vostok, which has been covered in ice without sunlight for millions of years. Scientists believe that its water may contain life that has not been seen anywhere else on Earth. In addition to Vostok, there are more than 700 glacial lakes under Antarctica. Scientists have already found traces of bacteria and microorganisms by drilling into some of the lakes. Even tiny shrimp-like creatures have been spotted swimming in dark water far from sunlight. This shows how deep and hostile environments life can hide. Scientists believe that such life could exist beneath the icy moons of Jupiter or Saturn, such as Europa or Enceladus. Real terrain and volcanoes. New information added. Now we have reached the real terrain of Antarctica. Removing the ice sheet, you can see huge mountains and valleys beneath it. The gambers of the Alps are as high as the European Alps. Denman Canyon is the deepest canyon in the world, about 3.5 kilometers deep. Yet it was completely hidden behind the ice. Moreover, dormant volcanoes have been discovered one after another in the western part under the ice. They do not explode outside, but they are constantly melting ice from below. Ancient history and continental drift. Fossils found in rock layers show that this icy country was once a green land. When Antarctica was part of the Gondwana continent millions of years ago, it was home to dense forests, rivers, and dinosaurs. Over time, this continent moved towards the South Pole and was covered in frozen ice. But the traces of that lost world still remain in the fossils and soil buried in the rocks. Political crisis and the 2048 agreement. This is the invisible treasure of Antarctica, for which the world's powerful countries are now trying to strategically position themselves. Geologists believe that there may be reserves of coal, oil, and rare minerals under Antarctica, as abundant as those in South America, Africa, and Australia, which could be worth trillions of dollars. The 1959 agreement made Antarctica an area dedicated only to peace and research. Mining or military activities are still prohibited here. However, the opportunity to review this agreement for the first time will come in 2048. If the ban is lifted then, a new competition for resources will begin on the ice sheet. Russia is already searching for oil and gas by conducting geological surveys. China is increasing its presence by building new stations. And as U.S. activities have slowed down compared to other countries, the balance of influence is gradually shifting towards China and Russia. Nature's cry. New information added, but the environment of Antarctica is very sensitive. The balance that has been built over millions of years can be broken in a few decades due to human greed. If this huge ice melts, the sea level will rise and the map of the world will change. 2048 is not far away. Will we be able to protect the purity of this white continent then? Or will it just become a battlefield? Only time will tell.